Welcome into the Washed Up Walk-Ons podcast. It's episode 493, and tonight, well, at least in the beginning, you're going to get a Gary the Intern and Kluver episode, and I'm not mad about it, Gary. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I love being here.
You're the fan favorite anyway of this podcast, so I think it'll go swell.
We say that,
and it's
but
true.
Statistically, is that true?
Yeah, we'll run a poll on our Twitter.
Okay.
And we'll just say, who's your favorite? Who would you like to hear the most of on the podcast? And it's going to be hard for people to say Drake because he's not even on the show. So you're going to beat him.
No, Drake would get overwhelmingly.
It'll be interesting. It might surprise you.
Overwhelming.
We're going to run that poll. I will, in fact, write it down as the producer you are. Say, just write down the note. Write poll on Twitter.
Why don't I just make it right now?
Or you can do it right now. Sure. We can do it live and see what the results are live. But again, welcome in. 2 minutes into the episode. We have several topics tonight. Kevin just didn't show up and also hasn't responded. I'm going to guess he's at some super fancy business dinner. He's an important guy. He owns the Stryker companies worth millions of dollars. So Grant and I will be able to do this anyway. We'll get Kevin's opinions on some of this later at a later date. The next 2 Sundays, Grant, I don't know if you know this. Part of tonight was asking you and Kevin when you want to record Sunday because the Super Bowl's on Sunday.
Very excited.
If you didn't know.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Well, I actually forgot, and there's a funny story to it. But we got to find it.
Only the Super Bowl.
Right. But we got to find a spot to record that's not the 6:30 time slot.
Yeah. It is pretty crazy because you do get that. It's a 2-week gap between the last playoff games and now. Sunday
was weird. I was like, Sunday without NFL football? What's going on?
Yeah, there's a flag football game that they promote, but now it's like you almost get, it's like, oh, is the Super Bowl actually going to happen? It's like when they tell you a movie's coming out in 2028. You're like, oh, that's never going to happen. And then you finally get it. Like, wow, this is amazing. I love the Super Bowl.
It's like when they drop the, what is it? Like the next generation of Marvel movies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
Phase 6.
Hulk versus Thor is coming out in 2035.
It's going to take 10 years.
You're like, that's never going to happen. Like,
I'm going to be dead.
Yeah, I remember distinctly hearing like unnamed Batman movie coming out 2020 when I was in 6th grade, and I was like, oh, I'll be in college. That's never going to happen. And then it actually happened. There was a movie.
Yeah, they came through on their word.
Yeah. That's how I feel about the 2 weeks of no football.
It does seem like with all the coverage of it, because the media coverage of Super Bowl week is insane. Like, and I know you're seeing it too. It's just like it ramps up so much. They put those players in like those pods, those interview pods on the field, rope them off.
How about that dude bringing up Lee Harvey Oswald to Brock Purdy?
I didn't see it.
Oh, crazy!
What did he say?
Dude, he's fielding questions as the quarterback of a team in the Super Bowl would do.
Right.
Some guy's like, so what do you think about everyone saying you look like Lee Harvey Oswald? He's just like, are you kidding? He's like, yeah, I don't know. I've never heard that one. It's pretty crazy.
Dude, and they're so fried. Especially like the star players. They're up there for a while, I think, because there is an insane amount of media. They rent out like an entire convention center. It's called like Radio Row.
Yeah, Radio Row. Oh, because dudes like if you're Dan Patrick, right?
Yeah.
You're there the whole week and you're just making a killing.
Oh, you're murdering.
Yeah, you're getting every big guest, every star is coming on your show. And people not even in the Super Bowl. They got like, comedians out there.
Right.
And yeah, like they don't, and I didn't even realize these guys are there the whole week to not even go to the game. Like, we don't care about actually going to the game. We'll go home.
I mean, they take their show back home. I mean, they got to be ready to get up and talk about it the next day.
No, I'm sure if it was cheaper to go to the Super Bowl, they would go. But I mean,
I asked Drake on DHT yesterday if he was going to make it to the Soupy, and he's just like, it's just so outrageously expensive. And George isn't even in a position to like slip him a family ticket. That's also outrageously expensive.
And here's the thing too: it's Wednesday right now, right? Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Okay.
But I'm not eliminating the possibility of Drake sending us a photo of him at the airport Saturday. Be like, boys, Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would say there's not a 0% chance.
It's not high, but it's not 0.
It's very low. The odds are long, but
like-
it's not
It's like Oppenheimer, near 0.
near 0. Yeah. No, but what I was going to say was I was trying to plan a big guest
Okay.
for Sunday. Did you see that in the text
I
group?
did see that.
Kind of a big guest, huh?
Kind of a big I've been looking forward to talking to that person
Hmm.
since probably March of last year.
I've been looking forward to talking to him since March of 2020.
Well, I didn't have a podcast in March of
That's true.
2020.
That's true. I'm not going to drop who it is. Maybe I'll tease it in the Discord later. But it's a big one, and maybe an unexpected one. A little unexpected for me, to be honest. I didn't know if
Really?
he'd be in.
Well, hasn't this person been on the show before?
He made a brief cameo.
Okay.
We'll leave it at that.
Well, now people are going to know who it is right away.
No, I
You
don't
might have
think
to
they
cut
will.
that.
There's a
This
lot
is
of
all
people.
bleeped out.
No. There's a lot of people who have made cameos. Now, I have another guest booked for the following Sunday. Potentially even bigger.
You know what's funny is, so I'm logged in on the accounts too, right? Where
Yeah.
we make these proposals to be on,
Sure.
and I'll just get a banner notification sometimes sitting on my phone.
Yeah.
And it just says a DM from so and so. And I'm like, are you kidding?
From very popular
Yeah.
football player.
And I have no idea that you're reaching out to these people, but I just see like, oh, DM from so and so. And I'm like, what?
I'm over
Like,
here
what
putting
is-
in work.
Yeah.
Hey, this show didn't get to 500 episodes on its own, buddy.
No,
You know?
that'd be pretty cool.
So there's some very exciting things happening in the next few weeks. Still trying to get Dallas on the line for that 500th episode. Dallas, if you're listening.
That's a spoiler. I don't know. Was that
We've
that
talked
known?
about Dallas for 500 since Tight End U.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
I guess it is in the video.
But I'll tell you what, guy has to look at his text messages if it's going to happen. Right? And
Yeah.
I don't know if he's doing that. Or
Is he a listener of the show? Is this him finding out right now?
Dallas, if you're listening, hit me back. We'd love to have you. You committed to this verbally.
Should we just post the Bussin' with the boys? They do the posting Rich Eisen every day.
Yeah.
Should we just do here's the clip of Dallas Clark saying he would come on the show?
Problem
He
is,
comes on.
the problem is I don't think he has Twitter or Instagram.
Oh, that's a good point. Actually.
Otherwise, I'd hit him
He
there
definitely
too.
doesn't. He definitely doesn't. No.
Right. Generally, these days, that's how you get at somebody if you don't have their phone number.
I'm surprised that we do that many on Instagram and Twitter. I don't know how. I guess I don't know how else we would do it, but I guess I don't know what.
I mean, the only other way would be you hit someone who you think has their actual phone number, and then you do it personally like that. Which maybe that's a better way to do it, but I feel like that's almost.
Should we do handwritten letters?
An invasion of privacy. That would probably a little slower. That goes a little slower.
just a tad. Yeah.
Now you could probably tell them in the handwritten note, you can hit me back at this number if you're interested. That would then speed up the conversation.
Yeah.
But I bet the return rate on those, I bet the success rate would be higher. Everybody loves a handwritten note.
I do love a good handwritten note.
There isn't somebody who doesn't.
Yeah.
It's authentic and it feels like the person cared when they put time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, definitely.
All the way from like, hey, somebody very important to just like, hey, your grandma sent you, it's almost Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
A little Valentine's Day card with a $20 bill.
Oh, thanks, Grandma. Yeah.
Yeah. And it feels sincere.
Oh, for sure.
I get to hear about the jackrabbits out in Arizona, or at least I used to when they lived there.
Your grandparents used to live in Arizona?
Oh, yeah. Sun City, retirement community.
Sounds nice.
Beautiful. Been there twice. Thank you for tuning in. If you are not a subscriber on the YouTube, please go. Grant and I were having a conversation about the YouTube before this. Subscribe. We were begging to get to 3,000 subscribers. I don't know if you remember that, Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're now at like 30 real-time updated number, 3149.
Great. We got to do some sort of incentive though. Like what are you going to do for the listeners if and when we hit 5,000?
5,000 subscribers, and I will. That's good. I don't know. Maybe the listeners, leave a comment on the show. What should I do? We want Grant told me this the other day.
We do need comments.
We need comments.
Comments drive the algorithm. We need comments.
Comment about this bald, shiny head. Comment about how I'm ass at podcasting. Comment about how much you'd rather hear Gary than me. Say something down below. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We're going to grow regardless. The walk-on train keeps climbing.
Yeah. Should we do a telethon to get subscribers? Start cold calling people. Hey,
it is
Tyler Kluver. Can we count on you to subscribe?
It's wild how
can we count on you to subscribe on November 2nd?
Vote for us November 2nd. Write us into your ballot November 2nd.
Please.
It is actually wild how well telethons do. Like they're
should we get out a little dial? Start dialing them?
It's high conversion. I know a guy. I know I could probably get a walk-on telethon going. I don't know. People would be very confused. They'd be like, "What? I subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Wash Up. What are you talking about? How'd you get this number?"
Yeah, it's just some guy who lives out in Decorah. Just says he's never even heard of Wash Up.
No.
What?
Yeah. Joe Evans podcast going off, as we said on DHT yesterday. As of today, and again, the YouTube's not impressive. Barn tour from this past summer with George, easily our best video, approaching 23,000 views. We are at a lifetime of 277,000 views. But Joe Evans, in just 3 days of being live, has risen to number 7 all time in views. Already up above 2,300. So the YouTube channel is growing. I credit that to me doing much better thumbnails nowadays.
I noticed they're different. I like them.
They're better. Yeah. You got to evolve. You can't stay complacent.
No.
You got to get better. You got to change with the times.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
You throw up that quote that he gave us. It felt like they gave up on us on the old thumbnail. People will click on that.
Should we just go full clickbait?
Yeah, probably. If we want more money and like more engagement, we probably should go full clickbait.
Yeah.
But tonight will not be clickbait. We do have some real stuff. Another quick bookkeeping thing, as far as, subscribe to the YouTube. If you're interested in the Patreon, do that. Go to Shields. Have I announced this formally on the podcast?
We have.
Okay. So go to Shields and buy our t-shirts. Buy them all.
Des Moines
Shields. We will be in Coralville eventually. They got to get their shit together. Shields, original Hawks by a Million. That is official Washed Up Walk-Ons merch. It's not a knockoff. It's not some other company trying to steal our stuff like before. Grant wasn't even around when that happened.
How dare they?
Had to send a cease and desist.
Really? You got legal about it?
Oh, we got legal.
Oh, shoot. Clink?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We were coming.
Dang.
Go buy our stuff.
What was the tell me what was it like when you went into Shields and your own brand is up there?
It was great, man. Like, I put a picture up on social media of me and my wife and kids standing by the t-shirt. It was like a very proud moment.
Yeah.
If you would have told me, coming out of Iowa, 2017, we finished up the Pinstripe Bowl. We go into pro day training that, hey, you're going to own a media brand based around the Iowa Hawkeyes, and like you're going to have merchandise that is sold in retail, like at Shields. I would have like, that would have been more than I ever could have dreamed of,
Did you wait around to see if anyone would buy it? Like, hey,
I didn't.
It's pretty cool.
I was with my in-laws.
Wonder who made it.
I was with my in-laws and my sister-in-law and my wife and kid. So they were making a big deal out of it. And my sister-in-law is like awkwardly funny, where like anybody that would walk by, she's like, he made this. This is his t-shirt.
Hey, everyone. Come check this out.
My wife is grabbing them off the rack, the one pin that they're on, and putting them on top of like all the other shirts so that it looks like that it's just like Hawks by a Million on an entire wall of the Shields Iowa section. It was right next to the Caitlin Clark jerseys.
Ooh.
So prime location. Did they do that so that more people are buying the Caitlin Clark jerseys?
Probably. They just knew the Hawks by a Million was going to sell so well.
It's a combo deal there. Probably buying both.
So it's so cool though. Even
really
just
cool.
to see in the past year how much this brand has grown is really cool.
Yeah, and it's I don't want to sit here and make this a stroke session, but like when you own your own thing and you're kind of on the other side of this, Grant, you don't have as much of the responsibility, but you see the inner workings. Like you said, you're on the accounts, you're in on the conversations. Every day, as like when you work for yourself and you run your own thing, you're just trying to like do the next thing and put out more and do more and secure another and like very rarely do you like actively take time to sit back and like reflect. But then like at the end of the year, you look back and it's like, holy smokes, like we're in freaking retail.
Blowing shields. Yeah.
We launched a beer.
Mhm.
We got a golf tournament coming up. Whoa, what?
Whoa, pretty crazy.
Been talking about a golf tournament for a long time.
Is it ever going to happen?
It's officially going to happen. There is a date. There's a course. It's been booked. We've already secured sponsors. Boys and girls, let me tell you this. This is the official announcement right here. We've talked about it before. And there will be much, much more details to come. You cannot, it's not available for sign up yet. You can't get in on it yet. If you're interested in sponsoring it, hit me up. This is going to become in our eyes, our goals and dreams, the best off-season charity golf tournament that's sort of based around the Hawkeye community. You know, some iClubs put on these things. There's other places that put on charity golf tournaments. This is going to be the premier one in Iowa. And we are extremely excited. Grant already knows some of the details.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's going to be monster celeb guests at this thing. It's going to bring in dozens of thousands of dollars for the children's hospital. And it's going to be Walkon themed. It is a party. It is the vibe of the Wash Up Walk-Ons. Relaxed, loose. The goal is to get Pete and Kim and Grays to cater the thing. Like we're pulling out all the stops and keep May 25th available if you're interested. Just sit on that and let it stew a little bit.
Ooh.
There will be more. There will be more information coming out, but it's officially happening, and it's not because of us. This thing has not gotten off the ground because I don't have time for all of this by myself. Turns out when you have a team of people working on something, me being one of them, things happen very quickly. And I'm very excited that we're going to be adding a hopefully annual golf tournament to the Walk-Ons brand and offerings. Very excited about that. Very, very excited about that. So that's kind of all the bookkeeping stuff for tonight. A little 19-minute intro to wet your whistle. Now, this is where I'll send people in the show in the notes of the section. In the beginning, I'll say, hey, skip to 20 minutes in if you want to hear about Lavar Woods leaving Iowa. What?
Don't even say it. Don't even say it.
Breaking news. Where's the clue bomb at? We need that clue
Where's the clue bomb?
It's not breaking for me, but I saw iColt retweeted the Buccaneers account. The Bucs had a special teams coach opening, right?
Really?
Oh, yeah. And Lavar Woods, it came out last night or 2 nights ago. He was one of the candidates. Did a virtual interview.
Well deserved to be.
Oh, more than deserved.
This is the thing too with just being an Iowa fan is that Iowa sports in general is very good at keeping coaches for a long time, especially the good ones.
Yes.
Right. And Lavar is fantastic at his job.
Unbelievable.
So you just kind of assume he's never going to leave.
That exactly.
Even though he might have aspirations to be an NFL coach or a head coach even.
Correct.
Which he would more than deserve.
You don't even let it sink into your psyche.
It doesn't even seem like a possibility.
Can't happen.
Like he would never leave.
So then you see something like this and you're like, but wait a second. You coach for the Hawks though, right?
Yeah.
Like we're like you said, we're all in this bubble. We're all in this echo chamber of Iowa. It's like You're not leaving here.
Yeah.
You're the coach for the Hawks. You're the special
Yes.
teams coach for the Hawks. That's what you
Lavar
do.
Woods, special teams coordinator, Iowa Hawkeyes.
Right.
Not Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You forget that these guys, especially these guys, a lot of them, Lavar being one of them, a former player, played in the league for 7 years, I think. They're pretty like high achievers. Very good at their job.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, when you're that kind of person and you get into an industry, a career, you seek to elevate. Promotions, more money, more responsibility, more I wouldn't say fame, but more high profile jobs.
Yeah.
Right. They want to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not something you think about when you're like, Levar Woods is our special teams coach.
Yeah.
You're thinking about how he's going to get some no-name freshmen and sophomores next year to buy into special teams more than any other team in the country. And they're going to produce some absurd kickoff team where they just go down and hunt people.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's what
every
I'm about.
punt inside the 10.
Right.
We're going to have a great year.
Yeah. But then something like this happens and it's like mind explosion. You're like, oh my God.
It's like, I was unaware he had any clothes even that aren't like the black and gold.
Right.
I can't imagine him wearing a Buccaneers hat.
Now, like you said, deserved. And he was not hired. They announced that they hired somebody else, which I'm shocked. Because when I saw that he was interviewing, I thought,
oh, he's gone. He's gone.
Gone. He's one of the best candidates in the country.
Again, well deserved, but gone.
I thought there's someone else will beat him out. And someone did, I guess. Shame on the Buccaneers. Missed there. Good for the Hawks, at least for now. You'd think that those NFL jobs are kind of coming to a close.
But it's like once he's got that one interview, probably got more coming up.
Probably.
Yeah.
And now you start to consider the possibility of an Iowa Hawkeye football team that doesn't have Lavar Woods at the helm of the special teams.
I mean, I just can't even. I don't even like you saying that.
Here's the question. Do I apply for the job?
Do you apply for the job? Okay.
Do you think I get an interview?
Yeah, probably. Well, can you just apply to be coach? I feel like at the Division I level, it's pretty much they pick. They don't seek out. I
believe the way it happens though, like when they put, like when they had the OC open, that was like a job posting on the UIO website.
I think that's though because it's like you have to. It's like
you have to.
The formality thing.
It's the law. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they have to check certain boxes.
So you're saying I mean, I think that's like the portal that everybody who was a real candidate had to enter their like information through. I don't think there's a separate portal that now is there a possibility? It's interesting because Coach Ferentz actually talked about this. I don't know if you caught the press conference yesterday.
I didn't really see it. No,
I recommend you watch it.
I saw one question that Kirk didn't really like.
Yeah, I'm a shocker that's what came out. So KF got to talk. Yeah. Seth Wallace got to talk. Tim Lester got to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So there's several things here, right? Coach actually divulged that he had 12 conversations with people for the OC job. So I'm going to guess that extended to like, hey, I'm having a legitimate phone call with you about your interest in taking the offensive coordinator job.
Mm-hmm.
He said he had 6 fairly deep conversations out of those 12.
Mm-hmm.
And he said out of those 6, he got really in depth, and I would imagine had on-site in Iowa City interviews with 4 candidates.
Yeah.
I believe, we hyped Kevin Johns, another video that's doing well when that rumor was going around from Duke. Obviously, Tim Lester got the job. I would be, I'm very curious to know who the other 2 are.
Oh, it's probably Kevin Ward and
Paul Christ.
Paul Christ. Yeah, those are the
I don't think it was Kevin Ward.
Dang it.
It was probably Philbin. He was rumored for a while. Joe Philbin. But even if it was those 2 that were the other 4, then I'm still curious about who the other 8 were. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Who's he calling?
yeah, I just want, like, for
There was
fun.
rumors it was like there's a call with Chip Kelly or something at one point.
I
Did you see
saw that. I did see that.
I don't know if that was like ML Football was tweeting that or a
It was definitely
legit a legit account. I have no idea.
JPA football or whatever that.
Yeah, those guys like Dove Cliveman or
Dove
whatever.
Kleiman, yeah. That guy. I don't know who's running that account, but they are on top of it.
I don't. Is this a like safe spot here? Is he a real person?
I don't know if he's a real person or if it's a team of people.
Are we sure he's a real person?
They're putting out like 30 or 40 tweets a day on like everything that happens in sports.
Well, he is what people get mad about in the journalism space now, and there's a lot of like
gives no credit.
It's just blatantly taking it.
Yep.
And it's like, this is mine now. Stole it. Can't do anything about it.
If you're interested in just all the latest hot takes of sports, just search Dove, D-O-V, Kleiman or Client.
I have no idea.
But yeah, it's sort of interesting. I mean, you're obviously younger, haven't been around KF as much. It seems like divulging that information
at all. I've never met him.
Well, I mean, just seeing him and media of him.
Yes.
Very reserved guy, not going to give you too much, right? Yeah. And the fact that he kind of told people like, yeah, talked to 12, talked a lot with 6, really talked a lot with 4. It's like, oh, that's good information. It's fun to hear him divulge information like that. Seth Wallace got up at the podium and mentioned that, you know, and obviously he's fresh off the promotion.
Right.
And I wonder if it has to play a role. I wonder if Lavar seeking other jobs is in part because
Seth Wallace
gets the elevated title of assistant head coach. You're not gonna give that title to everybody on your staff. Probably only one person gets it. Right?
So what do you think it is then? Was it Lavar telling Kirk like, hey, I'm gonna look at NFL jobs, and then Kirk says, okay, with Seth, you're gonna be associate, or is it Kirk telling Lavar, hey, Seth is gonna be associate, and then Lavar in turn is going and looking at NFL jobs?
It's an interesting question because I know
if at all. Are these even connected?
Right. I know these 3 guys. And I know them from a coaching player relationship, right? Yeah. And now a little bit more of like a former coach acquaintance relationship. I've never really gotten to see them in action between a coach and a coach relationship. Like, you know, I've never been a fly on the wall for a legitimate, like, hard coaching conversation, a staffing conversation, right? I would love to see how that dynamic works. These are guys who are great interpersonal communication and working with their colleagues. They're obviously great friends. They've been on the same staff together for years. But that doesn't shield them. You know, there's not really any job or career in your life that means something, that's meaningful, that's going to get you somewhere. Where you completely avoid tough situations or hard conversations.
No.
And this is one of those. Because I know how much Lavar and Seth both love Iowa. And they have their roots here. They've been, you know, so much of their life has been with this program. And so to step away from that, to go pursue higher levels of the career is tough. And to indirectly be competing for somewhat the same spot. I mean, let's just talk about the elephant in the room here. It's not for sure that Seth Wallace is going to be considered for the next head coach of the University of Iowa. But I'll tell you what, having the title of assistant head coach sure makes it seem like you would.
Yeah, especially if I don't think Kirk would ever get fired, but especially if he gets to like step down at his own choosing and then probably gets to pick the next guy or at least have a big say in it.
You would think that Beth would give him some I
think he would play a very heavy role in the decision process.
Correct. Especially in a spot where, you know, not every head coach is going to get that at every university, but a guy who's been here, you know, he's now going on 3 decades.
Yeah.
and what he means, what he's done for the university outside of sports, the Children's Hospital. There's a wing named after him and Mary Ferentz. I mean, with how big of a culture place Iowa is and him being such a big part of that, we just heard it from Joe Evans last episode. You would think that you want that guy to help choose the guy who's going to retain that culture, right?
Because I think for the most part, too, people are, or Iowa fans are favorable of Kirk over the past.
For the
over 2
most part,
decades.
there's a small sector on Twitter who's like, fire Kirk. Nothing's going to change until we fire Kirk.
Yeah, well, I think even those people appreciate at least a little bit of what he's done.
I don't think some of them do, but
at all.
Yeah, some of
like even the 12-0 season,
by some of their comments,
2002.
Kirk is dead to some people on Twitter. Now, again, who knows if they're just like, if they actually think that or they're just tweeting to sound cool. But
yeah, I don't know. My point is, I think a lot of people would, in a way, like to find another coach kind of similar to Kirk in terms of like overall success, consistent
and knowledgeable about what the program's about.
Right.
Seth and Lavar, both two of those guys. I think either one, in my personal opinion, having known them and being coached by both of them directly, in fact, either one, great choice. Problem is, there's only room for one, right?
Co-head coaches. Has it ever been done?
Probably not. I don't know if that's the best structure for a college football program. Maybe
only one crown.
They could, maybe they could carve a path.
It's a board of directors for the head coach.
Sure. From what I understand, I saw this tweet on obviously Twitter is where you see tweets, and it's not even tweets or Twitter anymore. It's X and posts, I think. Mark Morehouse, former beat writer for the Gazette, said, and I don't know if he knows this for sure or not, that Lavar went to Coach Ferentz and asked for the assistant head coach title as well, or maybe before Seth Wallace. Now, Seth said that that KF came to him a fair amount of time ago and talked about this and how this is what he wanted to do. Regardless, like I said, only one spot. And as the other guy, Coach Woods, he sees that and he goes, okay, I'm not the guy. I wasn't picked to be the guy. KF is in a weird spot because he's got two great coaches, not just two. He's got several more great coaches, but these two have tenure other than Coach Parker, who's really expressed that he's not interested in going anywhere. These are the two guys that have tenure, and you're like, I kind of have to choose one. And you probably know what that means for the other one.
Yeah. It's tough with any program when you have a lot of success at the coordinator positions. Where, I mean, you see all the time, it's like as soon as someone has like a good OC or DC for 2 years, they're almost gone instantly.
Gone. Yeah, because there's plenty of head or just programs out there who are going to be head coachless.
Yeah.
And the thought is, we can bring this guy in and he can lead our program from the top.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work out that way. That's why there continues to be head coaching vacancies.
Yeah.
But it's tough because KF at that point probably knows I'm losing Lavar. And maybe we retain him for this season. Again, right before this podcast went live, we saw that he was not hired as the Bucs coach. So maybe we get him for one more year, but I would say count your days and cherish them because Coach Woods is probably not going to be around much longer. Now, maybe he comes back someday. Maybe Beth and Kirk and whoever else is making that decision when Kirk decides to hang it up. Be tough to imagine that Lavar doesn't apply for that position.
I bet you there's a phone call about it. And
I think Seth gets that phone call or conversation as well amongst plenty of other people. But Seth talked about how he was not so shy about telling the media yesterday that he had plenty of opportunities to go elsewhere this offseason as well. And
I'd love to know where.
I would too.
He didn't say.
Probably take your pick. He is the assistant up until this point. When he got the promotion, he was the assistant defensive coordinator for a perennial top 10 defense. a lot of places, a lot of good places who are knocking down that door, right?
Yeah. You think for just defensive coordinator or for head coach?
I would say he probably had all kinds of options. You know, from his standpoint where he sits, you're effectively a D coordinator already,
Mhm.
or you're an assistant D coordinator, co-D coordinator at a major Power 5 school
Mhm.
who has put out the defenses that we've put out. I would say he might not have been getting the top 5 or 10 calls, like, you know, I don't know who had openings this year,
Like
but
you don't think Alabama was calling
I don't think
for Seth Wallace?
well, you know what? I wouldn't even doubt it. I would not doubt it.
That would be crazy. Would be
Would
I
it
would-
be though?
I honestly I wouldn't even be that
No.
I wouldn't even be upset if
If he
went
left.
to go be Nick Saban's successor. It would be
Not head coach.
oh.
I don't think he was getting head coach calls. I'm positive he wasn't getting head coach calls.
But if he went to go be DeBoer's
D coordinator?
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I guarantee he's at that level.
Well, when you said he was getting calls, the first thing I pictured was Lincoln Riley calling him for USC.
Now that I think about it, for any of the Blue Bloods that did have an open D coordinator spot, I would not be surprised if he got those calls.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he? Who's a better option?
Well,
Phil?
yeah, I was gonna say Phil Parker, maybe. I don't
Right?
know.
Like,
And they probably have. I bet you Phil Parker, his cell phone, automatically forwards to Seth Wallace.
probably.
It's just it automatically forwards.
Hey, talk to Seth.
Yeah.
He just, So, and he talked about how there's a lot to stay for in Iowa. He's got roots in Iowa.
Yeah.
They asked him if head coaching was in his desired future, and if, he kind of saw this as a path to potentially taking over after Kirk was done.
Mhm.
And he had a little bit of a smile, said he's focused on right now, focused on this job, this current title that
It's a good answer. I mean,
it's a great answer. He wasn't going to say, there's no way Seth Wallace is going to stand up there and say, yeah, I'm really kind of looking forward to when Kirk hangs it up because I'd like to take this place over. Like, he's just not that kind of guy.
No.
But
Wow.
yeah, a lot of happenings, man. And it pulls. I saw the Lavar stuff and it pulled on my heartstrings. And you want to know what else I thought about selfishly after I was like sad he wasn't going to be our guy?
What?
I could get him on the podcast then.
I think he would.
I guarantee we would.
I would love to talk to him.
Wanted to quickly mention, I don't know if you saw this on the old rundown. Somebody commented the other day, you had a little kerfuffle on when the dribble was invented.
Correct. Yeah.
In basketball.
No, honest mistake.
We finally figured that out. Someone did comment that the first men's 5-on-5 college basketball game was in Iowa City. First ever.
College?
That's what it says. I don't know the credibility of this
Really?
person on YouTube. Again, this is from YouTube comments. Please comment down below. He said Iowa versus Chicago in quotations or parentheses
versus all of Chicago.
1884 question mark. He put that in his comment. So not a ton of credibility.
So I think basketball was invented in I want to say after that.
Really? When was
Dr. Naismith? Is it Dr. Is he a doctor? Dr. Naismith? I want to say it was.
James Naismith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have his doctorate though?
I don't know if he's a doctor.
Okay.
He's got hell of a mustache. I know that.
He's a legend. I just don't know if it was
in the winter of 1891.
So yeah, no, it's not.
Invented an indoor game that could be played between football and baseball seasons. Legend. Now,
maybe just inventing.
Maybe this commenter
of that popularity.
I know, wild, right? I'll be honest. I didn't know that he was the inventor of basketball, and so now that makes sense with the whole Naismith Award.
Yeah. Might checks out.
So this commenter probably meant 1894, which would have been 3 years after they invented basketball.
I'd believe that.
That feels right.
I'm gonna check.
And Chicago back then, I think you can find some of the old football matchups where Chicago was just a football team too, a college football team.
Well, the Chicago allegedly ran the Big Ten when it first started.
Yeah, they murdered people.
Yeah, they dominated. 1896 Chicago versus Iowa.
96.
Now, can you guess the score? Because it is
oh god
shocking.
I'm going to go with something like
And
31 to 20.
This is I guess technically a Division I game.
31 to 20.
It's 15-12.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No, great. It looks like they only played one half, or it was just a continuous game.
I mean, dude, even if you play for 20 minutes, 15 to 12 is absurd.
Yeah, we go.
So, hey, but think about how tight those rims were, though.
Well, it's also, too, I mean, is this at the time where they had to go get the ball? It would just stay up there?
Probably. Yeah.
There's no way. No, they had to have figured that out. If it got to the level where it's like, okay, universities are going to be playing this game, they had to have advanced.
You're probably right.
Past like, oh shoot, now we got to go take the whole net down.
Right.
Go get the ball.
I just thought I'd add that in there as a little.
So if we know Naismith, though, do we know who invented football or like who invented baseball?
Search it. It reminds me, I saw a picture of or like a little reel of Babe Ruth.
Oh, Walter Camp. Oh, that's what that's for.
Oh, so that makes sense for his awards too.
What is? You want to take a guess at the baseball one?
I would have, dude. I don't know anything about baseball.
And that's wild too. Like basketball is just like the history of just this country. Really, is not that old.
Yeah,
like, everything's pretty close together when you think about it.
The craziest. Now this I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here. Probably some people who believe on little different timelines. But if you believe in evolution and the Big Bang, then the whole thing is our time in the United States as a colonization, right, is like if you expanded, or if you retracted all of time in Earth, or just in our being, down to a 365-day calendar.
It's like, aren't we 1 minute?
We are literally in December 31st, 11:59 p.m.
Yeah, like the amount of time that where people have just been around,
I think is like 11:57.
So small.
It's wild.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely crazy.
And the time that basketball has been around is even less.
Is even short. Apparently, baseball was invented by the Mills Commission, whoever that is. So it's not one single person invented baseball.
Big baseball, huh?
Yeah, but it's what, like, Dr. Naismith was probably like, oh yeah, Lincoln, I met him and went to college with that guy.
Yeah, we invented sports.
Yeah, he was president, and I invented a super cool sport. Who's cooler?
Probably Naismith. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's probably all we got for tonight. I don't want to,
Really?
I had some other questions. Yeah. What else you want to talk about?
I don't know. I mean, I was kind of enjoying that.
Do you have, I know.
Okay.
We didn't really talk about Tim Lester.
Oh yeah. Just casual guy.
Well, I mean, we talked about him being hired last week.
Okay.
He stood at the podium. He answered some questions for 20-25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, I get sucked into this too. It's because I see all the BS online.
Yeah.
But you see the hire come through and it's like horrible how, everybody's pissed, right?
Yeah.
And
he was winning some people over, it seemed like yesterday.
Me included.
Oh.
For no reason. There was no reason that he wouldn't have already won me over. I don't know anything about him.
It's almost.
But the way that Twitter.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The way that Twitter portrays him through their opinions of the hire, you start to get this like doom and gloom vision of who this guy is. You think they're going to walk some dude up there who's like crippled and you see, for some reason he's only in black and white. And
you think they're going to bring up Dr. Naismith.
And he can't talk fully. Like he can't even communicate on a podium. And you're like, then you see Tim Lester walk up there. He's got his hair slicked over.
Oh,
he's a decently fit looking human.
Yeah.
He starts talking about RPO and like tight ends and how he likes to get his running backs involved. And you're like, oh, so this guy does know what he's talking about.
Those are the things I like too.
Right.
I love tight ends. You like tight ends?
He's talking about building relationships with his players and why he was running certain things and how he'll be calling plays from the box. And you're like, oh, so maybe he was a good hire, like at least on the front end here, because it sounds like he knows football.
It's wow, it's almost, and these are not the same at all. But it is almost like he's a political candidate. It's like you got to go out there and just impress the people. Shake
Well, and he
hands,
had
kiss
an
babies.
impossible job, dude. Like think about, I cannot imagine, and he probably doesn't feel this because he was not in the Iowa ecosystem for the last 2 years, 3 years. But like the weight of that staff position for the Iowa Hawkeyes right now is so heavy that like the expectations, it's almost impossible for him to succeed. Like and in a way, all he has to do is have a little bit of offense work and he does succeed, right?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance he succeeds.
Now, here's my opinion. I think people will forget Kevin Johns is even a person by the time August rolls around because they'll be so excited. They'll be hearing things about Tim Lester's offense, all this stuff. And I mean, it's going to be juiced when they run out there for that first game this fall.
Oh yeah,
like it always is.
And it's tough too because we scored it on the first play of the year,
right? So
if he doesn't score, he's
ass. We got to fire him.
He's technically a failure.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, you listen to him talk. He's confident in his answers. He's confident in defending his past and his couple years at Syracuse, and talking about when he was at a smaller college before that. And then he's talking about how he called plays versus how he delegated stuff when he was a head coach for Western Michigan, all this stuff. And you're like, dang, this guy's kind of like feels a little bit impressive, actually. Like this might work.
Yeah.
And from a player side of things, there's not going to be a lot of people who relate to this, but with how much I've listened to Coach Ferentz talk and other guys on that staff talk in meetings and just around the building and practice, I can tell why Coach Ferentz and the other coaches liked him. Coach Ferentz talked about the other coaches getting involved in the process, doing background research on Tim Lester, kind of talking to him through the interviews. And he fits. He fits with a really, really fresh perspective. And the best thing I heard from the entire press conference was he was relaxed and comfortable and not defensive because he's the new guy. He has nothing to defend.
That'd be funny if he just got up there and started yelling.
He also said that he has this was hyperbole, but he talked about how he has 600 pages of passing plays. And I was like, oh, really?
Oh.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just where the Brian situation got to. But like Brian was getting up there each week and it was like, you know, how are you still sucking so bad? Like every question is like, how are you guys going to do, you know, you poke him with the stick, do something, right? And Brian like got to a point where he sounded just very defensive because he had to be.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I don't know what I would say.
Right. And
like, you don't think he knows that there's an issue?
Right.
Like,
and so like his press conferences, it felt like he, you know, you couldn't even give him a chance because everything he said was picked apart.
Yeah.
In the negative way. And it was like everything Tim Lester said, it was like maybe the one press conference he'll ever have, or I guess anytime he speaks from now until he actually goes out and runs an offense for 60 minutes, is like everything you hear right now. You know, the trolls and haters can post what they want, but there's nothing behind it because he can go out there and talk and it's all just excitement. It's all hype.
Yeah. Well, this is the best part of every
of
the talking season. Is part of it's some of the best part of sports as a fan too. When you get a new coach, like we got this new quarterback coming in.
Oh yeah.
Like no one can tell you you're wrong. Like last year, the offseason with Sean Payton and the Broncos, no one could tell me we weren't going to win the AFC.
Which you didn't.
We didn't even get close.
But it felt like it
But in June, I was like, you know, there's a chance.
It's
like I haven't seen enough to prove that we won't.
Exactly. You haven't seen enough on the ulterior alternative to say anything different.
Correct.
And you get that every offseason.
We get that until August now.
We sure do.
Or basically September.
And we also get that. We also get really cool guests, which we're going to continue to bring on. So
do that as well.
Yeah. Mark your calendars. May 25th, there's going to be a golf tournament happening. It's going to be exclusive to get in, dude. It's going to be like It's gonna be tough to get in.
Should we do? Are we doing like interviews? Is it a country club?
I don't think it's that level.
Oh, okay.
But what I'm saying is, with how we're gonna
there's a physical test
with the parties involved in building this,
Yeah.
and like the value, the entertainment value, the schmoozing social value of like who we're gonna bring in as celebrity guests,
Mhm.
how much money we're gonna be raising for the kids. This is going to be the event that everybody wants to be at.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. A little nervous though. There's the names we've thrown around.
I'm a little nervous too, to be honest. But here's
golfing
the thing.
wise,
If you're not nervous, you're not taking big enough chances.
Well, here's the thing too: is that's May 25th.
Right.
Is early golf season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not golfing a lot right now. Spoiler.
I'm not golfing at all.
I don't want to play super poorly.
Think of it this way.
Because I don't want to be out there and like, why is Grant snapping all of his clubs?
I'm not going to touch a golf club until the day.
No, we gotta I'll go with you. You gotta swing it a little bit.
Well, there was
When do you wanna go?
So we'll be recording a podcast on site at the golf tournament.
Okay.
It'll happen after the golfing is over, in between that and the dinner. Oh yes, there's a dinner. Potentially some high-end speakers going to be there.
Oh.
And we have access, if we want, at some point to go and record a podcast from the exact spot that we'll record on the event day, and play around and kind of hype it up as a promo, a month or two before we go and actually play. So maybe we can set that up. Me, you, and Kevin go play.
Yeah, and, you got to play at least once.
I don't really want to.
You're not really selling the.
What's funny?
Right now.
No. I want everybody to prepare for this as hard as they can. I simply do not care about how my golf game looks when this charity event happens. It's the last thing on my mind.
I care.
This will also be 1 week out before I run a half marathon. So, taper week, which is
so
nice.
Are you gonna walk the course then?
If we're being dead honest, I will have like a 6 or 7 mile run that morning.
So no.
And then we'll do the entire thing. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough day for me.
I'm driving for sure.
Oh, but there's obviously carts.
Yeah.
And this, it's gonna be high class.
This is a classy event.
It's a classy event in the way it's gonna be operated, with the vibe and environment where you don't have to act classy.
Yeah.
Ideally, we got to get back pocketing on this. We're gonna be slinging hops by a million at the entire day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful though. It's a 4.5 hours of golf.
That's the point.
And then a podcast allegedly afterwards. It's just gonna be just disgruntled noises into a microphone if you're not careful.
I'm gonna be fine. Kevin, on the other hand, Drake, I don't know. But we've done that before, and they turned out great.
Fair enough.
All right.
Do you want to talk about this little game called the Super Bowl before?
Oh yeah. Might as well.
Little game called the Super Bowl.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
I'm nervous.
You're nervous because you're
if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl,
they're a dynasty.
It's going to be a big issue for me.
Well, and that's because of the direct division rival.
It is. And at that point, so it's what, 4th Super Bowl in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the 3rd win.
Correct.
It's definitely dynasty talk.
Yeah,
for sure. If it isn't already,
I would say if you're there 4 out of 5 years, that's half of a decade, and you win 3 out of those 4 times. You're probably at a small, short dynasty era.
And my thing is too, looking at it, of the most recent dynasty we just saw, the Patriots.
Yep.
Let's say Mahomes and Brady.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing the math in my head. Okay. So it's like he's been there 7.5, 8 years now. And
he's probably halfway through his career.
And Brady was in New England for 20 years. So
I think a little more even, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh gosh, we have to do this for 12 more years.
Well,
we might be in trouble here, boys.
The longevity thing is even for the greats.
Mm-hmm.
if Mahomes, I bet Mahomes, if he can get to 16 years, if he can double his current career, he'd be happy with that.
And that might be still too much for interconference.
I would say you've got a long 7 to 8 years ahead of you.
And this is too, even I set it up as if they win the Super Bowl. It's going to happen regardless, even if they lose. Now,
Correct.
3-time Super Bowl champ is definitely a little daunting, but I'm rooting for the 49ers for sure. And
I am as well.
I mean,
This
George
is an easy,
Kittle, obviously.
right.
Christian McCaffrey, rooting for him. It's also, too, the 49ers, they have not, despite feeling like one of the more successful franchises recently, they have not won a Super Bowl in quite some time.
Correct. They make it to the NFC Championship a lot.
Yeah.
Listen to that. I mean, they've been there like 6 or 7 times in the last 20 or 25 years, I think.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten the big one.
No.
I will also obviously be rooting. The podcast is rooting for the 49ers in this one. None of us are Chiefs fans from childhood or anything. And Kittle, the boy, is literally headlining the Niners. So we want him to win. I think Purdy's a great story too. And I believe that's great for the state.
I don't know if this is.
Should get him on the podcast.
I don't. Brock.
Yeah.
You think he would do it?
I think there's a chance if Kittle put in a good word. Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah. Well, it's just you hit all the 49ers on at that point.
I thought about it.
What's Juszczyk doing?
I think we could get Juszczyk.
What's Debo doing?
I don't know about Debo, but I mean Christian. I mean we could talk with Christian. I mean we talk all about 2015.
It would just be me asking him, hey, who did you have for English in 10th grade?
And there's the connection. I'm telling you, a podcast episode with Christian would go well.
He seems like a nice dude. I've never met him.
Oh, he's probably the nicest guy.
He seems like a great guy.
Line right now sits at the Niners -2. Some places you will find it -2.5, but mostly -2.
Yeah.
And the over under currently sitting at 40.
I think it's 47. I want to say
47.5.
I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's trending that way.
I think
you're going to get like 20, like 23-17, something like that.
I don't think that I can logically bet against the Chiefs. If I'm betting on this, I'm betting the Chiefs to cover +2.5 for sure. Probably +2. And even maybe the money line is a safe pick because they just know how to win. They have a Super Bowl routine. That's how much they've been there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously the Niners are favored. So, the books think they can win this game. And I think they can win this game. I'm going to hope for the Niners to win something like 24-14 or 24-21. I do think it will also go under.
I think it's low scoring.
Yeah.
Because I'm both very impressive defenses too. Like the Chiefs this year, as great as Mahomes and Kelsey have been, defense is stellar.
It has carried them in several games.
Like them holding Lamar in that offense too.
Right.
10 points.
Well, questionable that the Ravens ran like 6 times all game.
That was an interesting choice.
Yeah, it was.
I wouldn't have done that personally, but I'm also not a head coach.
You're not. I wonder what Tim Lester would have done. Maybe we can ask him. Maybe we can get him at the golf tournament.
That would be I don't know. You know, they say again, comparing him to a political candidate, they say like if you're campaigning for president, never touch a basketball,
right?
Because they'll just make fun of how you shoot, no matter what. If
Probably.
If you're about to be offensive coordinator at Iowa, do not pick up a golf club.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe I don't know.
So what's your prediction there?
I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna take the 49ers. I think 23-17 still.
Okay.
I think tight ends, they love the playoffs. I think George Kittle is getting in the end zone.
Would love that.
I think Kelsey is also finding the end zone though.
It's almost guaranteed. Yeah.
Tight ends love scoring in the playoffs. I also think Usher halftime surprises people with his show by doing better than people expect.
Yeah, I hope it's great.
How old do you think Usher is, if you had to guess?
Oh, I would guess he's probably 50.
You think 50?
Yeah, I mean he's been a thing since I was in middle school. Like, so he's
45.
Okay.
But Usher out of nowhere.
Right?
Kind of an odd show. Like
why not the Pork Tornadoes?
That'd be cool.
Maybe
they would
crush.
They would do crazy. Well, also you get you're not just inviting the Pork Tornadoes. You're inviting like 12 bands because they're doing covers.
Right. Yeah.
You're inviting actually you're inviting Led Zeppelin. You're
Yeah.
inviting
Yeah.
the Killers. You're inviting Taylor Swift. All of them are performing as the Pork Tornadoes.
Be great.
It's a lot of people are saying Taylor Swift's going to end up hijacking the show though and performing something.
That would not be good for her image.
Do you have a certain halftime performance you liked?
I was a big fan of when Justin Timberlake flipped the nip.
Do you remember that moment?
I remember the media coverage of it the next day. Yeah.
But you weren't sitting in front of the TV. Like, whoa.
I don't specifically. It was kind of like confusing when it happened.
Okay.
And then I just remember like seeing nipple on the internet the next day
on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I appreciate you, buddy, for doing this this duo podcast.
I appreciate you.
Forth.
Yeah.
Hope people enjoyed it. Little G-Bone Kluver episode. Thanks for joining us. Give us your thoughts again. Comments down below.
Yeah. What do you want? Let us know the reward for 5,000.
5,000 subscribers on YouTube. What do I have to do? And who would be your dream Super Bowl halftime performance?
Or maybe should we do never mind.
Okay. Did you run that poll on Twitter, by the way?
I haven't done it yet.
Okay. I'm excited to recap that on the next episode with a very special guest. Might have played quarterback. That's all I'm going to say. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.